of the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink Television, its sponsors, or partners.
Hi, welcome to the Straight Goods. This is the Enviro show, and I'm your host, John Abati. We have quite a few guests today. Our first guests are Raymond and Dr. David Patriquin of the Avon Peninsula Watershed Preservation Society. So, gentlemen, just introduce your group and when you were formed and why you were formed.
Yeah, sure, John. Well, we're the Avon Peninsula Watershed Preservation Society. We came together really not that long ago in June, but it was as the result of just over a year and a half ago, the community heard of a proposal to strip mine our watershed on our small peninsula. So we've been getting ourselves organized to come to terms with understanding what that means.
Okay, we have a satellite photo of the area so people might be able to better understand where we're talking about. We'll put that on. You guys are on a peninsula, is it?
Yes. It's a peninsula. It's at the really at the headwaters of the Avon River. We're surrounded by three rivers: the Avon River, the Kennecook to our north, and the St. Croix to our south. Here we are. So this is the Minas Basin, and you can see the Avon River coming down to the south, and in the square there is our peninsula, and just to the bottom left is the town of Windsor and the Avon River Causeway. So our peninsula is actually just almost within stone throwing distance off the town of Windsor to the north.
Okay, they'll probably put up a photo of just the peninsula itself, highlighting kind of where the proposed quarry is going to be, or proposed mine. So, as it is now, there is a mine there now, presently on the peninsula, is that correct?
Yes, there has been gypsum mining on the peninsula since 1956, but it's been contained to the right, to the eastern side of the peninsula. And it's within a mineral resource zone. And as you can see from the aerial photo here, it covers a significant amount of area. At this point, that's about 1,600 acres that the mine has.
That's the present mine?
That's the present mine.
Okay, the area that's kind of, there's a striped and a dotted area, that's the entire proposed mine, is that right?
That's the proposed footprint.
That's what you're concerned about. You're not really concerned about the mine that exists now, right?
That's correct. That's our main concern, is the untouched area to the east.
That the proposed mine, that as a peninsula, the high point of that land is where exactly in relation to the peninsula?
The high area is basically in the center of the peninsula.
Where the mine is supposed to be?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of your concern about that would be. And right now, what's there? It's woodlot. What exists in the proposed area?
Yeah. Well, maybe David could speak to that.
Yeah, my interest is in farmland conservation. I work with a group that's based in Hants County that promotes farmland conservation and working farms. And I'm particularly interested in the issue of the integration of conservation of natural biodiversity at farms. And this is right essentially on the backyard. And one of the issues there is that, it's got a number of farms that go from essentially dike lands into the forested uplands, and there's this huge forested commons area. And that's almost ideal from a conservation point of view to have a big block of land that's the natural land, because usually you're faced with the issue of you've got a little woodlot here and a little woodlot there, and you're trying to tie them together. And one of the reasons I'm really concerned about this is that this thing is going to be essentially like an asteroid wiping out this wonderful area, which is a huge, a forested area for biodiversity, and also it's the whole origin of the watershed. You're essentially blowing a hole in the middle of the watershed.
And the origin of the watershed, the concern there would be,
It's basically going to completely change the hydrology of the system. I mean, these karst systems are very sensitive in any case because they're very permeable to the water that goes into them. It tends to be very little runoff and so on, and it goes into the, underground morass and cavities, and essentially anything you do to that is going to affect water supply, and the farming systems are obviously very dependent on that. So it's this combined effect of wiping out this natural biodiversity, wiping out a lot of the ecosystem services those provide to the surrounding farmland area and the whole peninsula, the purity of the water and all these issues. So it's a very kind of acute case, I guess, of a project that would be an all or nothing thing. It's like either you have the future of the peninsula for a diversity of activities and very, very rich agricultural land because of this gypsum base, or you're going to have this huge mine, which is long after the mine is finished being mining, there's just going to be nothing left there except a big crater.
So that's, in a way, there's a planning vacuum here. And this is what we see all across the province, various community groups forming to take responsibility for the stewardship of the communities, of the watersheds, because the province isn't really quite there yet in terms of having rural watershed management planning system. Those responsibilities have been sort of, put down to the level of local governments. But local governments, municipalities don't really have the capacity to do that either. So you find watershed organizations such as our own springing up across the province. I think there's over 30 of them now. And some of these are well established and have been working with government for sometimes as long as 15 years and developing the sort of scientific and educational capacity to deal with these issues. And that's what we think should happen here. And we're committed as an organization to develop a watershed management planning process that would bring in all the interests, all the interested parties, the naturalist community, the farm community, rural economic development experts, and so on, and really take the time to look at this and see, let's look at the asset, let's look at what the values are that are here and how we can maximize those values. So that's our commitment as an organization. We hope to have the province and other levels of government to partner with us on that. And hopefully that somehow we can make this happen, because the alternative is the environmental assessment process, which has its merits, but it's not really a planning process. It doesn't take into account all these other values. In fact, it's difficult for it to handle those.
As it stands now, though, the municipality is kind of on board with you guys. Well, I don't know if I should say that, but they've designated this area as agricultural land. Is that correct?
Well, that's true. The thing is, in our case, in the municipality of West Hants, we have a fairly well-developed planning system that goes back many years. And in fact, in 1991, this whole area to the west of the existing mine was designated as an agricultural priority zone, and that's had significant implications for our community, because people have been really made sacrifices to protect the zone in the interest of preserving farmland. So what we want to do as an organization is to develop, is to develop, build on top of that zoning, agricultural zoning that's already there.
Okay, hopefully we can bring that photo, the second photo with the proposed mine back up. The area right now has woodlots. It's kind of natural area still. There's caverns. you know, with the karst topography, basically it's related to the subterranean, not the surface. Well,
It's just very,
to some extent.
very rural, and it's an incredibly beautiful area because you have these lovely hills and valleys and
Yeah.
little gullies and so on. So it, you know, it has fantastic potential in areas of such as ecotourism and because it's so close to Halifax, you know, diversified farming and catering to markets here. And really the choice that people are looking at is the choice of a gypsum mine for a limited period in the future and no sustainable future beyond that, or a sustainable future with this area with its wonderful resources.
And this area now provides basically your water for your wells, for your agriculture.
Yeah, and already from the people are complaining about sulfurous water that they didn't have a year ago, which could be related to the exploratory coring they do, because anything you do into that karst topography can change, you know, the way the water is moving underneath.
It's relatively fragile.
And also they've begun to clear cut in that area, and then, you know, so removing in anticipation of the mine being approved, and, you know, removing the forest cover in that area is changing it. Even that will change the whole surface drainage and absorption of water and so on. So these are really already beginning to limit people's options, even just thinking about the process.
There's an impact too, the financial impact in that even the threat of the mine has a chilling effect on investment. So in terms of further investment in our farming economy, and we have perhaps one of the greatest concentrations of working farms, perhaps in the province, right on this little peninsula. We have, 3 certified organic farms. We have beef, we have dairy, we have orchards, vineyards. But for that to keep going ahead, we need to have the assurance that our watershed, basically the middle third of our peninsula, isn't going to be blown out. They just don't go together.
That third is it's like 50% of the forested area, is it not? It almost seems sort of like that.
Well, yeah, indeed.
Taking away the...
Yeah, and Raymond's a fine example of that because he's somebody who came back to the area to invest in his family heritage farm and is producing vegetables for, I think, 40 people a week in the city. So, and with this issue coming up, he won't be able to do most of that this summer. So there's a loss right there of what people really value today, or, you know, locally grown fresh vegetables. So these things are already having an impact. But beyond that, there's tremendous potential for more of that in the future. That was really just beginning to, you know, it's been kind of a renaissance there of the rural livelihoods. And this thing has come along as a kind of bomb in the middle of the whole process. So,
I think it's a model. You know, we've got basically 2 models of the rural economy. One is the 19th century model where you just exploit the resources, the smash and grab, boom and bust, and something more appropriate for the 21st century and what we know about what people value, quality of life, and that the economy is dependent on the environment. And here we have such a beautiful environment with all these values. It's just stupendous. And we can revitalize our rural economy if we respect the landscape and the natural and human communities that thrive in them.
Okay. Is there anything? So I think your website's been on www.apwps.ca.
Correct.
People can sign a petition online. So if people are interested and really would help out, it's very important that we protect farmland for the future of Nova Scotia as well as natural areas. So check out their website and hopefully we can protect some vital areas for the local economies and rural communities. Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks, John.
Okay. There you go. How much is it?